We've been talking about a variety of properties of sound, and we're going to look at specifically in where we can use these real-world application of these particular properties. Now, reflection and echolocation is something we've already looked at, and we have already determined that bats use this in order for them to see. Since they're blind, they send out a signal, and depending on how quickly that signal returns to them, will tell them if they're about to hit a barrier. Now, submarines is another common use where they can map out the ocean floor, and they can either move up in order to avoid something that they might hit, or they can even go lower, just depending on what they're trying to do. We also have this reflection echolocation used in medicine in the older systems of ultrasounds, where they would send out a signal over the pregnant woman's belly, and as the sound came up, they can actually have a picture of the child. Now, in the more higher technology that we have, these 3D imaging machines, it's used a little bit different, but on the onset it was used to look at what was inside the body without having to open it. We could find things like gallstones, because that is a hard enough barrier for the reflection to occur. Now, remember, it has to be a surface that is hard enough or rigid enough for which the sound, instead of going through the system, through the material, it ends up bouncing back. Resonance or natural frequency is another thing that's used again in medicine, because if we get the natural frequency of the particular object to vibrate, it can vibrate with such intensity that it breaks apart. Well, this is known to be used to break up what we call kidney stones. It's stones that form in the kidneys. Again, the stones are big enough when the sound is shot into the kidney area, it doesn't destroy the material around the kidney. What it does is it causes the stone to vibrate so rapidly that it falls apart, and it's in smaller pieces, and eventually, yes, you can urinate it out. It is painful, but it's a better way of getting rid of kidney stones, instead of actually having to go through the surgery where you're going to have a longer recovery time. It's also used to clean equipment, very sensitive equipment where you can't put a lot of liquids on it or such agents, or even jewelry, because you can send these high intense frequencies in the area of the equipment, and it'll break up the dirt particles or other particles that are there, and it cleans out the equipment. And the last one that I'm going to talk about is interference and superposition. Now, we can use this to decrease the intensity of sounds heard by people that are being exposed to extremely loud sounds, such as the maintenance crews of large jetliners, where they're out trying to do the maintenance, clean it, prep the airplane, ready to get it going. The engines are on, and those sounds are so loud that they have to protect the employees with headsets that are actually emitting negative interference frequencies that are negative to the ones that the jet is actually producing, and therefore it ends up canceling out somewhat the intensity, so it's softer instead of being as loud, and that way they can protect the eardrums. Another place where this is used is for street crews that are using jackhammers. Now, these things have come about in these newer years, now that we have these agencies such as OSHA that are there to protect the employee from getting damaged during the work, and finding ways to make it safer for them to do their jobs. So it is just a couple of ways that we now use these things that we have learned from sound, how to use sound. And we will be looking at the Doppler effect that is used. Of course, weather is claim to fame with this, but we're going to look at the Doppler effect and how that is used as well.